Welcome to Master of Science with host Professor James McCanney.
Hello everybody, and this is a special announcement, one of my posts about this topic is been in the news, so it requires some time, some effort to clarify things. Dealing with life on Mars. Did NASA discover life on Mars? This huge announcement. Oh my goodness. All of just blanket coverage press. And that's when I have to step in, but I don't want to waste my regular show time dealing with these, I would call them baloney topics. I want to save my airtime from my main weekly radio show, TV show, dealing with real topics, and so real science. So did NASA discover life on Mars? Well, this is the big announcement. And then it's like everybody afterwards, oh, life on Mars. There's a lander that they're trying to build at great expense. And this has been one of my criticisms of NASA also. When they have a project, they build one spacecraft. It's like building one automobile. You should have dozens and dozens of these, and that brings the cost per unit down. And we could be exploring all kinds of other places like the moon. But no, they build one. Do you know the expense of building one custom spacecraft? It's astronomical. To use the correct word. It's astronomical in cost. But at any rate, they're trying to, Trump is trying to rein in expenses, and I'm not being political or anything else, but NASA, my opinion on NASA, it should be cut to zero completely. It is an agency that has failed completely. These huge, expensive one-off missions, whether it's sending a man to Mars in 30 years, sending a man to the moon, or sending a spacecraft to Mars to try and figure out if there's a speck of dust there that might, it's going to tell them that there was life on Mars. But see, this is not even the real story, and I'll get into that in when I get done with this brief YouTube presentation. I'll refer you to my Patreon channel, where I go through a long series of discussions on this topic. But did NASA discover life on Mars? And the answer is no. Just all they're doing is fishing for money, because they have an $11 billion project they're trying to get funded. And of course, Trump is going to axe that. I mean, this is, and then there's the, what is it called? The Rosalind Franklin rover they're trying to have built, also included in part of this package, that they would land on Mars, and it was supposed to go to places where they think there's going to be life on Mars. But the real story is Mars was a blue planet a few thousand years ago. And so this whole charade of NASA trying to send little rovers there, and then in 10 years it'd be, oh, look at this rock. We found this rock, we drilled into it, and we found little specks. Oh my goodness, could that mean life? But it needs more research. We need more money. It's a charade. It's a charade, and NASA has been doing this since its inception. NASA should have been building public infrastructure for the public and private businesses, etc., to go into outer space. That's not what they've done. They've wasted huge amounts of money on these one-off projects that produce no results. Whether you think NASA went to the moon or not, I don't get into that argument. But the reality is, what did we get for it? If they went, even if they went, if you're like, yeah, NASA went to the moon. Okay, so what do we got for it? Nothing. Zero. Zip. They never went back. It's like if you were a British in Her Majesty's service ship, and you went onto a tropical island and you put your flag there and then left and never came back, you don't own it. You don't own anything. You don't have any rights to anything. In fact, they destroyed all the data, all the camera footage, everything. Everything from the Apollo space program has been discarded. It was in an old box, and no. There's just, what did we get for the moon landing if they went? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, and that's what's going on now, and it's a continuation of that. So let's examine what the NASA announcement is all about. They drilled into a rock that they uncovered under another pile of rocks, and they found some little spots that they think, now they can't identify them, the geologists that at least they're allowing to go public, cannot identify these as any other natural geological formation, little spots on a rock, maybe a dozen little spots. And they can't identify them, so they go, oh, it must be life. It must be due to some deposit, but billions of years ago. Let me tell you something. The surface of Mars has been so hammered with cosmic radiation because it's barren, if it were there billions of years ago, that there wouldn't be anything left, believe me. The dust storms that occur on Mars annually would erode and just destroy anything. I have a whole section of my weather book, the Principia Meteorologia, the physics of sun-earth weather. That book, the entire center, 8 pages, is a series of high-resolution photographs of the entire surface of Mars. And you can see where Mars recently had water erosion. Recently. And I go through all of the arguments there in the book on why that is true. Mainly because you have these very intricate little meandering riverbeds which take a long time to form. A meandering river is not like a one-time wash where it just washes out, carves a big channel. A meandering river takes a long, long time, like the Mississippi, where it weaves back and forth. That's because the current, there's a little eddy current that starts eating away at a bank, and it continues to do that. So when the water comes down and it turns, it keeps cutting away, and then it forms another turn, and it comes back, and it eventually becomes this meandering river. These take a very long time to form, and they're very, very delicate. So you see these all over the surface of Mars. And they're not eroded away by the annual dust storms, so that if they were there billions of years ago, they wouldn't even be there. You wouldn't see anything. So it's proof. These are proof, positive proof, that NASA had an atmosphere and ocean recently. And from what the ancients tell us, it's very clear that Mars was a blue planet, had ocean and water, and an atmosphere to hold it in place. And this was recently. So yeah, there's life on Mars. In fact, the reports are that there were human beings living on Mars, and there was transportation between Earth and Mars, where Mars had a very different orbit. It had an orbit that came much closer to Earth than it does today, and which would when that cycle came, when Mars was close to Earth in its orbit, it would be relatively easy, almost like going to the moon. Not that close, but still relatively easy, maybe a couple-week journey, not 3-year journey as it is today. Okay, so then the summary is that, no, NASA did not. Let's be clear, NASA did not discover life on Mars. The announcement came at the time the head of NASA got up there. When he does that, they're fishing for money. And it came at the time when Trump was trying to decide on the $11 billion to go to Mars looking for life on Mars. I suspect that Trump is going to dump that project. It's just, $11 billion is a humongous amount of money. And it could be done by a private enterprise for a far, far less cost, probably 1/100th of that. And also private enterprise would be looking for some way to have a payback, a return on investment, which is not in the NASA cards. There's no return on investment for NASA. Where's the ROI? Over the past 60 years, have we had any return on investment? The answer is no. It's been an entire waste. If you look at project after mega project after mega project, it has been a complete waste. Okay, this is the public YouTube presentation of this information. I'm going to have extended information on my Patreon channel on this topic and more, other daily postings there. I encourage you to go there, and I'll have quite a bit more information on this topic, and that is patreon.com/JMCCSCI. So go to the Patreon channel for more information on this topic.